Boxing Features.
Hello and welcome to the Boxing Features Preview Show, the weekly series where I take a look at all the biggest fights around the world for the upcoming weekend. Before I start, make sure you hit that subscribe button for plenty more Boxing Features content, and without further ado, let's get to the fights.
Boxing Features.
We start off with the Queensberry Promotions Frank Warren BT Sports double header this week. Friday and Saturday he's got a show on. It's like he thought, right, I need to get all my fighters out, and he's pretty much done that job. We start off on Friday. Absolute shame actually, because Sam Maxwell was meant to be fighting Akeem Ennis-Brown. That was the headline for Friday's show, but Akeem Ennis-Brown pulled out earlier on this week through injury, and Ben Fields has stepped in, and I think that's a solid 8-round fight for Sam Maxwell. Don't forget, Ben Fields is a great fighter, and props to him for stepping in at such short notice. He's beat the likes of Nathan Bennett, Andrew Fleming. He's been in with some good fighters, Lee Appleyard. So, good, solid opponent for Sam Maxwell at such short notice. I really do like Sam Maxwell. He's been matched toughly, I think. Joe Hughes, Conor Parker, Oscar Adamore. So, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing Sam Maxwell out, and I'd like to see him push on. It's a shame he's 32 years of age. That Akeem Ennis-Brown fight would have been fantastic for him, but unfortunately it didn't go his way, and he'll be fighting Ben Fields, and I'm sure he'll be getting a big fight soon. Elsewhere on that card, I don't actually know what the headline is now. I should imagine it would be Zach Parker versus Vaughn Alexander, or Brad Foster versus Alvaro Rodriguez. We'll talk about Brad Foster versus Alvaro Rodriguez first. Brad Foster I really like, and he has come such a long way. He's only 23 years of age. He's held the British, the Commonwealth, good wins over James Beach Jr. and Lucian Reed, and now he's fighting Alvaro Rodriguez, which I think is a fantastic bit of matchmaking and a decent step up. Rodriguez is just under the European level, so we look at his record. He's lost to a few British guys in Tyrone McCullough, Thomas Patrick Ward, and he's got another loss in Alex Mora, but he's held the Spanish Super Bantam title, and again, I like this because that's a good stepping stone for Brad Foster if he wants to move on to European. And it's a good fight for him. It's a really good fight for him, and I'm looking forward to seeing Brad Foster back in action. Zach Parker, another new Frank Warren signing, which I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. Last time out, he fought Rowan Murdoch. That ended up being a really decent fight, wasn't it? That was on the undercard of John O'Carroll, Scott Quigg, I believe. Yeah. And Frank Warren's signed him, as I said, and he's high up in the WBO rankings for middleweight, I think. So, Vaughn Alexander, yeah, WBO International Super Middle, rather, sorry. And decent fight. Look at Vaughn Alexander here. 15-4. His losses come to Melekziev, Anthony Sims Jr., Alec Mulai, and Dennis Douglin. So he's got some good names on his resume, albeit losses. But again, decent fight to introduce Zach Parker to the BT audience, and I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward to this one as well. Danny Ball versus Sam Gilly for the WBC International Super Welter title. Really close for me, actually, this one. Danny Ball, undefeated. He's 24 years of age. His one draw comes to Casey Benjamin, but I've liked from what I've seen of him. I must admit, I've liked what I've seen of him. Just look at this. Yeah. He's been on a small haul for most of his career, but then we look at Sam Gilly, MTK fighter, and it's good opportunity for both of them on BT, and someone's always got to go, as they say, but it's good for this domestic, just under British title level fight. And he had a good win last time out against Curtis Felix Jr. And that was for the Southern Area title. So maybe if he wants to go down the British route, he can. Or we see this WBC International. Good to get him out. Good to see him. And prospects on the card, Dennis McCann. Not much needed to say about Dennis McCann, apart from he's one of the brightest talents in world boxing. He's absolutely phenomenal. He's 8-0 with 5 knockouts to his name, but them knockouts have been highlight real knockouts, haven't they? He's so entertaining. I like him. He's a nice lad. And Luis Moreno, good fight for a good little step up, but it's, I think, mainly going to be a showcase for Dennis McCann so he can work his way up for area English and British titles. David Adelaide as well, heavyweight prospect, British heavyweight, really like the look of him. His 5th professional fight on Friday against Mladen Manev, and again, only time will tell if he's the real deal, but so far he hasn't put a foot wrong for me, and I really enjoy watching him. So that was a really good Friday night fight night on BT Sports. Tune in for that, and as I say, that's the first of a double header. We look to Saturday night now, and it's Willie Hutchinson versus Lennox Clarke, and I can't tell you how much I love this fight. I think it's brilliant for the vacant Commonwealth title and the vacant British super middleweight title, and I really like the look of this. I really do. I really like Willie Hutchinson, and I like Lennox Clarke actually, but Willie Hutchinson, he's only 22 years of age, and he could certainly be one for the future. He is settled at super middleweight now, so I'm hearing, because he did fight at light heavy. I think he fought at light heavy in his last fight. No, that was super middle. He certainly fought at light heavy before, yeah. Look, so not last fight, but the fight before was at light heavyweight. He's been out. He was out 3 times last year, which is fantastic considering the pandemic. And it's a really solid fight and a really tough test. I make this a really close fight and a really tough one to call against Lennox Clarke. Lennox Clarke only loss comes to Lerone Richards, and we all know how good Lerone is. And he's got wins against Daryl Sharp, Elvis Dubé, so lower level opponents, granted, but he's looked decent in those, and it'll be a fantastic name on Willie Hutchinson's record, especially so early on in his career and at such a young age. And we also look on the undercard, LYNN, another prospect that I really get excited about, and he's fighting Sebastian Perez, which is a huge step up for the WBC International Silver Featherweight title. We look at LYNN. LYNN's 8-0. He's 25 years of age, and he's got 7 knockouts to his name, and he just looks sharp, he looks slick, he looks entertaining as well, and he's fighting Sebastian Perez. And we look at Sebastian Perez. He's 12-1-1, but he's got some really decent names on his record. Jacob Barreto for the vacant EBU European Union Bantam. That's really decent name. Alvaro Rodriguez, he got a draw with. Ian Baluta, and his one loss comes to last time out against Eli Konki, and he is an 8-0 prospect as well. He's now 10-0, but again, it's a tough test for LYNN, and I really look forward to seeing whether we can come through it so we can push on. Nathan Gorman's also back out on Saturday night against Pavel Sauer. That's good solid step up once again for Nathan Gorman as he looks to rebuild after the Daniel Dubois loss. He's had 1 win since that fight against Richard Lartey, which again is a solid opponent, but Pavel Sauer, I think, is a tiny little step up here. He's 13-3, but his only 3 losses come to really high level opponents in Hughie Fury, Jermaine Franklin and Filip Hrgovic. So he's got power as well. We've got 8 knockouts, Pavel Sauer, and it's good for Nathan Gorman to be fighting someone like this because it gives him confidence as well. Because I should imagine his confidence weren't at his best after his knockout loss to Daniel Dubois, because he was being built up as maybe Daniel Dubois' equal, and Daniel Dubois got rid of him fairly easily, didn't he, in round 5 back in 2019. So I'm looking forward to seeing the rebuilding process for Nathan Gorman, and looking forward to him being in some bigger fights, because I like Nathan, I really do like Nathan, and Pavel Sauer is a really good fight for him to be in on Saturday night. You've also got Chris Bourke is on the card, Mark Chamberlain, Ethan James, Stefan Adderton, and Umar Khan makes his debut. So, you know, it's a really solid fight night, 2 fight nights from Frank Warren. So well done, Frank. And I look forward to seeing a lot of these fighters out across the 2 days. But certainly on Saturday, Frank has got some competition, hasn't he? Because he is up against a big fight night, but it is a pay-per-view, so whoever doesn't want to pay £20 for this huge pay-per-view on Saturday night can tune into BT Sports for Willie Hutchinson versus Lennox Clarke. But you all know what I'm talking about, the huge pay-per-view in Gibraltar. It's Dillian Whyte versus Alexander Povetkin, the rematch. And I can't wait. I really can't wait for this one. I just think it's a big chance for Dillian Whyte to come back. And it's also a big chance for Povetkin to say, no, that weren't a lucky shot. That was my game plan. I've now come up with a bigger and better game plan to get him a second time, and I am still a huge name in this heavyweight division. So it's so intriguing. I'm looking forward to the rematch more than I was looking forward to the first fight. The first fight I was excited for, but it didn't really get me really going. But this one really has done, because that huge knockout, that was knockout of the year last year, I was silenced. It wasn't even a case of me getting up screaming like I usually do. I was like, oh, wow, he's not getting up. And it was so shocking. And that is heavyweight boxing. That's why we love heavyweight boxing. But this rematch has got everything, hasn't it? It's got the story now. It's got 2 heavyweight titans going at it. And I can't wait. I really can't wait. And I'm so intrigued to see whether Dillian Whyte can do it. And I really hope he does. Personally, I think he can. I think he could get a mid to late stoppage of Alexander Povetkin, because he did just switch off. But is he going to switch off again? And if he does switch off, can Povetkin take advantage of that like he did in their original fight back in August of last year? And I don't know. I really don't know, because it's in Gibraltar, obviously. There's going to be, I think, 500 people there, which Dillian Whyte loves. But Dillian Whyte gets into wars because he loves entertaining, a bit like Derek Chisora. But he needs to stay focused. He needs to stay focused. Because Alexander Povetkin, I think we all saw there, he's so disciplined. He was knocked down twice, and he still had that instinct, and he still could pull off that fantastic pinpoint, timed to perfection uppercut. So it's a huge fight in the heavyweight division, and I really can't wait for it. And also, we've got on the undercard, Ted Cheeseman versus James Metcalf for the British Super Welter title. That is a brilliant fight, that is. I'm really looking forward to that, because it's a chance for Ted Cheeseman to get back his British title after he lost it to Scott Fitzgerald. Scott Fitzgerald had to vacate. And James Metcalf, he is a really good opponent. He's 21-0, and this is his big opportunity against a big name in Ted Cheeseman. And I'm really interested in this, because James Metcalf brings a different style to the likes of Sam Gilly and Scott Fitzgerald, because we all loved that war against Eggington where Cheeseman got the better of him that night. But let's see how he does now against a higher level boxer. And it's going to be interesting. It is really going to be interesting, because I love Ted Cheeseman. I've always done. I've followed his career from the very start. And I want to see him do well. I really do want to see him do well. But then again, James Metcalf is also a great fighter. So it's 50-50 for this one for me. And it's certainly worth watching, and just adds to this fantastic card, and as does Chris KONGO versus Michael Mccann for the WBO Global welterweight title. And again, 2 undefeated fighters, 12-0 Chris KONGO, he off the back of that fantastic win against Luther Clay, and Michael McKinson, another MTK fighter. And it's another great chance for Michael McKinson to perform on a big pay-per-view stage. And if he comes through Chris KONGO, the world is oyster, really, isn't it? He's 26 years of age. Chris KONGO is 28. They're coming in to their primes, and both of them are going to be wanting to move on to European and world level pretty quickly. We see, I don't think Chris KONGO's really put a foot wrong in the pro ranks, and he's got a really extensive amateur background as well. So, good fight. Really solid fight. That's 2 solid fights on a great card in Gibraltar, but one that really interests me, or 2 that really interest me here, 2 heavyweight fights. Fabio Woodley versus Eric Molina. Big step up for Fabio Woodley, and we also see how much Molina's got left in him. And if Fabio Woodley convincingly beats Molina, then I believe everyone's been underestimating Wardley. Certainly has, because he got the 2 good wins against Richard Lartey and Simon Vallili last year. But I think even now people are still underrating Fabio Wardley. Maybe rightfully so, because he hasn't gone that step up. But Molina's fought at world level. He really has. Don't get me wrong, he's come up short against like the likes of Filip Hrgovic, Dominic Breazeale, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. So it's a good opportunity for Wardley, but if he comes through it and then pushes on, I can't wait to see where he goes. And the same goes for this fight, Eric Pfeiffer versus Nick Webb. Eric Pfeiffer was meant to be fighting Daniel Dubois last year. He's 7-0, he's got a huge amateur background, he's 34, and he wants to be moving quick. And this is a big chance for Nick Webb to get back on the big TV shows and prove that he is a heavyweight that can certainly mix in the higher domestic levels, because his 2 losses come to Kamil Sokolowski and Dave Allen, and that was a big win for Dave Allen, wasn't it, on a fantastic night. And since then, he has only really done the Ultimate Boxer. He won the Ultimate Boxer, and I thought he'd done really well that night, actually. I remember the night, he didn't perform well in the first fight against Chris Healy. He got a great knockout against Danny Whitaker, and then he got the unanimous decision against Mark Bennett, and Mark Bennett had just had a war in the fight previous, so we'll see what happens here. But it's a strange fight for Nick Webb to take, I believe. But for the hardcore boxing fans, if Nick Webb comes through Pfeiffer, then he's in a really good position, and I think Eddie Hearn will put him up against a higher level of opponent. And don't forget, we're still in a pandemic and people need to box, and Nick Webb's took this opportunity on a Sky pay-per-view and said, yeah, I'll go in with Eric Pfeiffer, let's have it. And I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know what's going to happen. So it's one of those fights I'm looking forward to. I don't really know how to call it. I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know that the winner can go on to bigger and better things. And certainly, then will have the attention of Eddie Hearn. And Eddie Hearn always says, winner stays on. Another interesting one here, Yusuf Kamari. He's 11 wins, 0 losses, 1 draw. He's 24 years of age and looking for that big TV opportunity. And that big TV opportunity is coming against one of the stories of the year last year in Kane Baker. Kane Baker, he's 14-7, and people were like, this is Virgin on Journeyman, Kane Baker. He presented himself fantastically in for the fight camp bubble when he was meant to be fighting Aqib Fiaz. Aqib Fiaz pulled out. Eddie Hearn put that fight back on later that year. He lost against Aqib Fiaz, and then it was like a week, 10 days later, he got the call saying, Michette Spear, we want to put him on the show. Do you want to fight him? And he beat Spear on Sky Sports on the Lewis Ritson Miguel Vazquez undercard. And that was just huge. One of those brilliant stories in boxing. And guess what? As Eddie Hearn said, winner stays on, and now he's getting another opportunity against an undefeated fighter in Youssef Kamari. Great opportunity for both of them. And also a great opportunity for both broadcaster, because it will bring so many eyes to the sport, and for himself, Campbell Hatton makes his professional debut. Campbell Hatton, where have we heard the Hatton name before? Ricky Hatton's son. I haven't got a clue how he's going to be in the pro ranks. We don't know. It's his debut. Looking forward to it. Going to be a huge name. Going to sell a huge amount of tickets and going to bring huge amounts of eyes to the sport of boxing. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love that card. Pay-per-view. Some people are saying it's not a pay-per-view as ever, but I'll certainly be paying my £20, and I hope you will be too, because this is a fantastic fight night with some really solid fights on it.
Boxing features.
Quick little shout out, Prince Patel is also fighting this weekend in Ghana, as he has done for the past couple of years now, one of the most controversial men in boxing, so I'll keep an eye out for that one. But apart from that, that is it. Thank you for watching the Boxing Features preview show. As ever, catch me on Monday for the Boxing Features review show, where I'll be going over all the fights I just spoke about. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment, tell your friends about Boxing Features, and as ever, thanks for watching.
Boxing features.